lineup, Hernandez and Gonzalez. And a couple of new inserts for Dusty Baker against Manny Parra.
Now the Piggly Wiggly scouting report for Manny, the lone left-hander in the Brewers starting rotation this year. He's got to get ahead. The fastball's got to be down and on the corners. Curveball early, and when he's successful, ordinarily he's able to throw that curveball for strike one. There is a theme here: get ahead in the count, so he can get to that splitter and the changeup. Those two are his strikeout pitches.
Well, the Brewers hoping to get some strikes from their starting pitcher. That's been the name of the game all around baseball this year so far. Defensively behind Parra, Braun, Cameron, and Hart. Hall, Hardy, Counsell, and Fielder around the horn. Kendall catches Manny. As you see, Counsell gets the start for Ricky Weeks tonight. That was a scheduled start according to Ken Makaruk, although I'm sure after Weeks took that shot in the jaw from Volquez yesterday, not a bad time to give him a day off.
Well, not a bad time, but you know, Ricky would rather be out there. He's that kind of kid. I mean, he's as mentally tough as any baseball player in the league. So he gets a day off largely because he doesn't match up all that well against Bronson Arroyo.
So Counsell, a left-handed bat, in there for Ken Maka in the leadoff spot. And Counsell, a .368 hitter against tonight's Cincinnati starter, Bronson Arroyo. Chuck Merriweather calling balls and strikes tonight. Four-man Major League umpiring crew. It's Mike Riley, the crew chief, over at third. Laz Diaz and Eric Cooper on the bases as well. If there is a replay necessary, Mike Riley will be the one who makes that call. Ready to play ball at Miller Park. The Brewers and the Reds. Cincinnati 3-3 on the young season, while the Brewers at 2-5, having lost 3 straight. And away we go. Taveras at .267. He's 4 for 15 so far this year. Parra trying to bounce back after his first start of the season. That was last Thursday in San Francisco. He went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 5 runs.
You know, Manny had a pretty good first 3 innings. I mean, his first 3 innings, he faced only 2 over the minimum and then hit the ball in the 4th. Pitch count was in good shape, got to the 4th inning, and really had a tough time.
Parra took the loss in that game against the Giants. That was the final game of that series in San Francisco, and Parra's mound opponent that day was Matt Cain, and that's still one of the best pitching performances against the Brewers we've seen this year. So chopper out to Counsell, and the speedy Taveras gunned down, 1 away. Counsell, his second start of the season, he got a chance to play third base the other day, and now a chance to play second. If you're wondering why not Casey McGee, McGee can play second base, but as far as a spot starter, Ken Maka would rather have the veteran Counsell, who has established both at third, at short, and at second base.
And then plus you get another left-handed bat in the lineup.
So for now, McGee will simply come off the bench. He and Brad Nelson and Chris Duffy, the bench, has done a nice job for Ken Maka and Willie Randolph.
Hey, Chris Duffy has drawn 2 very important walks. It's not often you talk about walks as being important, but they were certainly important on opening day here against the Cubs. Ended up coming around to score and was in position to tie the game last night.
There's Jerry Hariston for Cincinnati. He and Chris Dickerson, part of the 2-man platoon in left field. Hariston, the right-handed hitting version of that. Boy, everywhere you go, on the talk shows and just talking with people around the ballpark, the #1 topic of discussion right now is bases on balls. Not just with the Brewers either, as Manning walks Jerry Hariston.
No, and it doesn't matter what the rest of baseball is doing. Walks are a burr under the saddle. The man you just saw on the screen, Ken Maka, not much you can do about him. You can't defend him. And Billy Castor trying to figure out what's going on with his Brewers club. But you're right, those walks are up at an alarming clip in Major League Baseball as a group.
Well, Craig and Davey and Telly Hughes on Brewers Live today broke down the numbers, and Both managers have their own take on why they're seeing so many walks. Dusty Baker's take on that, as Telly Hughes had a chance to visit with him, is that the hitters were in such better shape coming out of spring training because of the extra week. You know, there's usually that 2 to 3 week lag for the hitters. They're behind the pitchers to start the season. Not the case this year with the World Baseball Classic.
Well, and bottom line is guys just aren't willing to throw the ball over the plate. I mean, they're trying to, you know, hit the corners, particularly early in the count. You know, back in the old days, you tried to get strike one and then you took your chances. And you wonder why pitchers don't want to do that, particularly more now than ever. Hitters aren't swinging at the first pitch, so why not throw it right down the middle of the plate? I mean, there are some guys that are going to attack early, but for the most part, these guys are working the count a lot, and that's why they're walking.
Now, Ken Maka agrees with General Manager Doug Melvin. One of the issues is that all across baseball, there is much more awareness these days, and especially this year, on on-base percentage and getting deep in the counts, taking a lot of pitches, especially with a lot of these young hitters coming up. And I know the Brewers are a good example of that. Dale Swaim has really made it a point to have these hitters work the count and wait for their pitch. Suddenly Manny Parra falls behind 3-0. So it's all a combination of things. There's probably not one thing. I think they all kind of fit together. Bottom line is pitchers need to throw more strikes.
Yeah.
It's easy to say.
Really no excuses at the major league level. You got to be able to throw strikes.
Well, Parra facing a hot hitter in Joey Votto. 9 for 23 in the early going with a couple of home runs and 8 runs batted in. Votto drove in 1 last night, part of that 6-run inning against Giovanni Gallardo. There's strike 2. Count goes forward. Good pitch by Parra to get back in the count. Votto finished second in the National League Rookie of the Year race last year, just behind Giovanni Soto of the Cubs. Runner takes off. Votto stays alive.
And 2 very good fastballs right on the outer half to Votto, and Votto able to fight that one off. But you know, with Manny Parra's stuff, you know it's not a case where he's not willing to throw the ball over the plate, because he throws 94 miles an hour, which is rare for a left-handed hitter. Once he gets ahead, he's got that devastating split-fingered fastball. And just trying to settle in and figure out the mechanics.
That one's well hit right center. That's going to go to the wall. Hariston has good speed, and he'll have a chance to score here. Hariston all the way from first base scores the run. Votto drives in his 9th of the season, and the Reds have the early 1-0 lead.
I'm not sure the speed pitch at the ballpark is working properly, but that showed 84 miles an hour, which means that Parra threw a changeup to Votto. Lefty versus lefty. Let's see it. Votto right on it. I mean, he smokes it into right center. Pitch up in the strike zone, and with Hariston's speed, he scores easily. So once again, the Brewers have to play from behind.
Now the Reds have won back-to-back games. They won against the Pirates in Cincinnati on Sunday when Aaron Harang fired a complete Game 3 hit shutout against Pittsburgh, and then the Reds winning last night. 7-6 was the final last night. Cincinnati scored 6 of their 7 runs in the 3rd inning. Brandon Phillips for the Reds. Got to a decent start, .294 average, 5 hits, 17 at-bats. There's an off-speed pitch. Phillips out in front.
Back-to-back changeups by Manny. Phillips, a very good fastball hitter, off to a decent start.
Phillips, the Gold Glove Award winner at second base in the National League last year. His first Gold Glove. He had a huge offensive year in 07. Was a part of the 30-30 club, at least 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. Numbers tailed off a little bit last season, but still hit 20. And of course, brought the great glove work every day at second base, a demanding position.
Well, he's the kind of guy that can beat you in a lot of ways, and he's not afraid to let you know that he's got some talent as well. Somewhat flamboyant out there between the lines.
Well, he kind of steps into that leadership role without Ken Griffey Jr. and Adam Dunn. The Reds lost a ton of offense when those two left. Jr. was traded to the White Sox at the trade deadline last year. Adam Dunn sent to Arizona.
How many years were they talking about trading Adam Dunn at the trading deadline? About 5?
And it finally happened.
Finally happened, yep.
After the fact. Dunn finished the year with the Diamondbacks, now in Washington. And of course, Ken Griffey Jr. signing with the Mariners. Two gone for Parra. Votto advances to third base. But Manny, with 2 outs, will face Jay Bruce.
That time looked like a split-fingered fastball that stayed up in the strike zone. But he got the out because he threw it for a strike.
Well, another one of these talented young Reds, Jay Bruce. He was among the finalists for Rookie of the Year last year, despite missing the first month of the season. He was down in AAA to start the year. Had a Ryan Braun type arrival to the big leagues.
Didn't do a bad job against lefties either. He stays in there pretty good.
Both Votto and Bruce hit the lefties well, although he chases one there, and it's 0-2.
Nice job by Jason Kendall saving a run. Boy, near impossible. Those are impossible to figure how they're going to bounce. Watch how far in front of home plate that bounces. That's about 2 feet in front of home plate. Bruce actually swings at it, and Jason able to block it. That's a heck of a job.
No balls, 2 strikes on Bruce. And that'll get Manny out of the inning. J.J. Hardy and Bill Hall. It's Hall that makes the call and the catch. The Reds on the board. An RBI double by Votto. Now the Brewers coming to bat. A little bit of a shift in his lineup tonight. Ricky Weeks gets the night off. Maka sending Craig Counsell to the top of the order tonight. Counsell starting at second base. Corey Hart red hot. He's batting second once again with Ryan Braun in the 3-hole. Middle of the order is fielder J.J. Hardy, Mike Cameron, and Maka has Hall, Kendall, and Parra rounding out is starting 9 here tonight.
Well, the Piggly Wiggly scouting report on Bronson Arroyo, a very deceptive delivery, all arms and legs coming at you out of the windup. A lot of off-speed pitches, different arm angles, and Prince Fielder has had a pretty good success against him. 3 home runs in his career against Arroyo.
Arroyo, 32 years of age. He has spent parts of a decade in the big leagues. He became a full-time major leaguer in 04 with the Red Sox. And he's been in the big leagues ever since. Started his career with the Pirates. Matter of fact, Jason Kendall was his catcher in Pittsburgh when he was just breaking in. We mentioned those numbers for Counsell. 7 hits and 19 at-bats against Bronson Arroyo. And Counsell draws the walk. So the bases on balls theme continues tonight. Each pitcher with a walk in the first. Here's how the Reds line up defensively. It's Jerry Hariston, Willie Taveras, and Jay Bruce in the outfield. Edwin Encarnacion, Paul Janisch, Brandon Phillips, and Joey Votto around the horn with Ryan Hannigan catching Bronson Arroyo tonight. Noticeably absent from the lineup, Ramon Hernandez and Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez still hitless on the young season. He's 0 for 16, so Dusty Baker gives the shortstop a day off.
They had 3 players in the starting lineup for the Reds that were not in there last night.
Hard back up the middle. Here's Janisch to Phillips, and just like that, a 6-4-3 double play ball.
And talking to the folks around the Reds ball club, they say that Bronson Arroyo is starting to throw a lot of 2-seam fastballs. It used to be 4-seamers that he tried to locate away, and a lot of different off-speed pitches with different arm angles, but he's trying to get outs early in the count, and particularly important at Great American Ballpark to get ground ball outs.
Well, Arroyo has had good success here at Miller Park. In 7 games pitched, he has an earned run average right around 3. It's at 3.08. So he's pitched well in this ballpark and pitches half of his games in one of the hitter-friendly ballparks in all of baseball, Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Ryan Braun trying to get going here. Braun 5 for 26 so far. Driven in a couple of runs. He's had a lot of base runners out there for him on this homestand. He did drive in the game-winning run against the Cubs on Friday in the home opener. But it's been slim pickings for Ryan Braun to start the season. Leans out after that one. And the double play ball makes it a quick inning. 3-batter inning for Arroyo. The Brewers and the Reds were off and running. We head to the second. Here at the ballpark, spring break for most of the kids in the Milwaukee area. It's good to see some of the kids out here with those bedtimes pushed back a little bit. Don't forget, the finale of the series tomorrow is still half-price tickets on Loge level seats. So we invite you out to the ballpark. The Loge level filling up tonight. And expecting another good crowd on a Tuesday night in Milwaukee. Still cool outside, though. Temperatures in the low 40s right now, but the roof is closed and it's a comfortable 58 degrees in the ballpark.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal on tickets, and you're not going to have those kind of deals later on in the summer. So take advantage while you can.
Encarnacion to right. And Corey Hart will take care of it for out number 1.
Hey, Brewer fans, take advantage of the Harley-Davidson double play this year at Miller Park for just $20. Purchase one Terrace Reserve ticket to one of 10 select Brewers games and get a one adult admission ticket to the Harley-Davidson Museum. For details, call 414-902-4000.
Have you been over to the museum yet?
I have not. I've driven by it.
It's nice. Can't wait to get back over there. Got some of the beautiful Harleys on display this year in that new group area.
I'm still working on the folks at home to get me one of those.
The Harley or the tickets to the museum?
Not the admission ticket. I can get that without permission.
Well, you know our motto up here in the press box, right?
It's free? I don't think you're going to see that.
If it's free, it's for me. Give me 3. Ryan Hannigan, the Reds catcher tonight, gets the start for Dusty Baker. He's the backup to Ramon Hernandez. Hernandez will get most of the work this season. Acquisition for the Reds from the Baltimore Orioles, but Hannigan will get a chance to play a little bit. Defensive-minded catcher. Parra gave up a run in the first inning. He walked Jerry Hariston, then Votto doubled him home. Manny with his first full season in the big leagues under his belt last year. And what a ride it was for him. Parra, one of the best for the Brewers most of the season. He kind of ran out of gas toward the end.
Yeah, he had a stretch of 8 consecutive victories, and nobody in the league was pitching better in that stretch than Manny Parra. And the Brewers are hoping to see a lot of that this year. He's got the stuff. It's just a matter of being able to put it all together, you know, throughout the course of a game.
Well, he's still only 26 years of age. His first start was on the road against the Giants last Thursday. A 7-1 loss. A 10-game winner last year, Manny Parra. He finished the season pitching out of the bullpen. Shatters the bat of Hannigan. And Hall takes care of him for out number 2.
Yeah, get ahead with the fastball and then put him away with the off-speed pitches. That's what Manny did right there. Good pitch. Down in the zone, Hannigan reached for it, and an easy out to Billy Hall. There's that changeup. Well located down and away.
So 2 up and 2 down for Parra. And he faces Paul Janisch, Cincinnati shortstop. Janisch, a capable backup. He can play all positions of the infield. Tonight spelling Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez is the everyday shortstop in Cincinnati, but he missed all of last year with a knee injury. A former All-Star, so the Reds are finally able to get Gonzalez on the field consistently. But he's off to a dismal start. Dusty Baker just wanted to give him a day. Gonzalez 0 for 16 at the plate to start the season.
Yeah, just clear his head. Remember, it was Jeff Keppinger getting a lot of the starts at shortstop last year for Cincinnati.
Janisch belts one right center. That's trouble. Cameron gives chase. That one is off the wall. And another extra base hit for the Reds. It's the second double in as many innings.
Well, you know he can hit the fastball. You know, fastball about 92 miles an hour out over the plate. And Giannis hit it well to the opposite field. Not bad for a shortstop. Nice short stroke. And drives it into the gap out there, out of the reach of Cameron. Really hit that one out of the ballpark.
So both of the doubles have gone into the right center field gap. Votto pulled his. Giannis goes the opposite way. And the Reds with a man in scoring position with the pitcher Arroyo stepping in. Arroyo with 2 at-bats in his last start against the Mets. Hit just under 200 last year. 197 was his batting average. But actually had 3 doubles, and he hit a home run. Drove in 6 for the season. I think half of his hits last year came against the Brewers. And now Parra has fallen behind him. 3 balls, no strikes. Don't think pitchers aren't talking about what everybody else is talking about. The lack of command in the early season, not just with the Brewers, with everybody in the big leagues.
Well, you hope the guy that's starting that day is not thinking about it, because when you start thinking about that, that's bad news.
It really
you put
is.
those negative thoughts into your head. It's like going to the plate saying to yourself, do anything but don't strike out. What happens? 3-pitch strikeout. Can't do it. Got to be positive. Everything positive in your head.
What you say when you talk to yourself.
That's right.
You never went up to the plate saying don't strike out, did you?
Maybe, maybe pop out. I would take a pop out once in a while.
Well, Parra comes all the way back and strikes out Arroyo. And the Reds strand a runner at second. So we head to the bottom of the second. Manny, his first strikeout. Now the Brewers coming up.
Into the bottom of the second inning. Brewers pitching has gotten off to a patchy start, but the same could be said about the other 29 teams across the league. BA and Rock talked about it. Craig and Sean Davey talked about it during our pregame show on Brewers Live. Take a look at the numbers from a year ago. Walks scored, home runs allowed, ERA are all up. 154 more runs allowed in only 3 more games. Both managers say spring training may have played a part in the slow start. Ken Maka suggested maybe 7-inning spring training games should be considered. Dusty Baker says the hitters totally benefited from the extra at-bats created by the World Baseball Classic. And guys, make up your own theory, but it is an epidemic across the league.
Well, it's fun to talk about right now for sure. It kind of falls in that category of the oblique injuries that we saw in spring training. You know, they were just kind of a rush of oblique injuries, not just with the Brewers, but with a lot of other teams. And I don't know how these things work, but it's definitely a talking point. As Fielder leads off against Arroyo, and a 4-3 ground out.
Man, that's what we're talking about in the pregame show. You're talking about some pretty good pitchers that are struggling mightily out of the gates. And, you know, it's early. It's a week into the season. And really, it's a small sampling and no reason to be alarmed. But, you know, the long spring training, and I don't care how ready hitters are, it really doesn't have any effect on pitchers throwing strikes. I mean, I'm not really buying into that theory, but, you know, it's just a matter of guys wanting to throw strikes, throw the ball over the plate. And one of the things that hasn't been mentioned, and something that I've been talking about for a couple of years, that strike zone keeps getting smaller every year. Tougher and tougher to get called strikes.
Well, Volquez started for the Reds yesterday. He walked 4. Gallardo walked 4, which was a career high. Volquez gave up 6 runs in 5 innings. Picked up the win. Gallardo 7 runs in 5 innings. Hardy goes deep. This is way back. She's gone. JJ. His second home run in as many nights. And we're tied at 1.
Yeah, JJ's starting to feel it right now. I mean, he's been hitting the ball pretty good last couple of nights. Able to tomahawk that pitch. That pitch a little bit above the belt out over the plate. And the way JJ gets on top of that, gets that backspin, that ball carries on out of here by plenty.
And in an era when you see a lot of hitters do a little Cadillacing and a little watching after a long ball, it's always good to see a guy like JJ Hardy puts his head down and takes off running. He knew that was out of here.
Act like you've done it before.
So Hardy with his second long ball of the season. Now it's 6 runs batted in. You could kind of start to see the signs yesterday. Hardy, he was 1 for 5 yesterday, but he probably left the ballpark feeling like he had 4 hits. He hit the ball hard
at least
4 times.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times. I mean, he almost hit the ball out the second time to left, and his last at bat against Weathers, he nearly took one off the wall in center. But almost doesn't count in this game.
Cameron takes a strike from Arroyo. Cameron has cooled somewhat after his hot start in San Francisco, but Cameron did have 2 hits yesterday, 2 for 5, scored a run. Just missed that one. Right on the barrel, but under the shade, and Cameron is out number 2. All right, Brewer fans, get into the game on Fox Sports Wisconsin, and let's talk a little baseball. This season, submit your question online at carsoup.com/baseball. And Tyson Wingo and Racine wants to know, who do you guys think is the most likely to have the most stolen bases for the Crew this season? You want to take a guess?
I'll take Corey Hart.
All right.
Yeah, Corey Hart would be the likely choice, but the fact that he's hitting in front of Braun and Fielder might not be as apt to steal as many bases. Ricky Weeks is another guy that might steal a few.
I'm going to go with Mike Cameron for the reason you just mentioned. Weeks and Hart might not be involved in much running. I mean, now Maka says he wants to run only when the stopwatch dictates that they should, meaning they get a good time on a pitcher. Cameron's more down at the bottom of the order,
right.
Maybe more of a green light situation than the other 2.
Not as apt to be able to score from first base with 2 outs, so maybe get into scoring position. But a lot of the hitters for the Brewers have the green light when they get on base. They feel as though they have the matchup that they like. Bronson Arroyo is relatively quick to home plate once he's in the stretch. You wouldn't think that when you watch him in the windup.
That one's hit high in the air to left. Won't carry as Hariston settles under. And the inning ends. But J.J. Hardy, the Brewers shortstop, unloads for the second straight night. All tied at 1 as we head to the third.
On Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Plains Farm and Fleet. You'll always find value at your local Farm and Fleet. By Piggly Wiggly, shop the pig and save. And by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin.
Lights are on a Tuesday night. The roof is closed at Miller Park. J.J. Hardy, a home run to tie it. All even at 1 as we head to the third inning. Reds got their run in the first. Joey Votto drove in Jerry Hariston with a double. Manny Parra has walked a man, has a strikeout, 2 hits allowed as he faces the top of the order. Second time through the batting order against Parra. Willie Taveras leads off. Reds still searching for that leadoff hitter that'll get on base. Who isn't, right?
Yeah, that seems to be a very difficult thing to find in this day and age. The days of the Ricky Henderson leadoff hitters are long gone. You're not going to see too many of those.
Corey Patterson last year for Dusty Baker. And this year it is the speedy Taveras. Ricky Weeks has done a nice job this year.
Brewers are going to see a pretty good one in New York, though.
That's right. One of the best, I think, in Jose Reyes. That's the other part of the story with the Brewers in their early April schedule. It's a tough one. First, the difficult road trip to start coming out of spring training. Not that 3 days on the road to start the season will break you down, but when you look at what happened before that, the Brewers went from Arizona and then a couple of days in L.A. as Parra walks Taveras, something you do not want to do. Second walk issued by Manny Parra. But the Brewers in San Francisco saw the reigning Cy Young Award winner Lincecum, Matt Cain, and Randy Johnson. They came home to face the tops in the Cubs rotation. Saw Harden and then Zambrano and Dempster. And then they get Volquez last night, Arroyo tonight. Micah Owings will get the start for the Reds tomorrow. Then they go to New York and Philadelphia. So April is a key. Everybody wants to get off to a good start. But for the Brewers, it's almost a weather the storm mentality until the schedule kind of settles in a little bit.
Really no reason to panic. It's only been 1 week. 1 week into the season. There's no real cause for alarm. What you have to do if you're Manny Parra here is you're splitting your attention, because Willie Tavares, what do you have? 68 stolen bases last year with the Rockies. You know he wants to run. And Manny Parra is going to have to save his good move for the guy at first.
Parra does have a good move. He can keep runners close. And a little slide step is effective as well, like we just saw there.
You don't have to have a good move necessarily to hold runners close. You just have to vary your delivery. Hold the ball once in a while, step off. Hold it a little bit longer from time to time, and it just frees that runner out there at first base. Don't let him time you out.
Tavares led the National League in stolen bases a year ago. Has won this year. Hariston fouls it away.
Now, one way to hold down that running game is to be as quick as you can to home plate. The slide step, you pick the leg up just a little bit. A lot of times guys will leave pitches up in the zone when you do that, and the guy at the plate benefits.
Tavares with 68 stolen bases a year ago. He came up with the Astros. Has always been a base stealer. Getting on base has been his issue. He's on to start the third, however. And he takes off, and that one's hitting to right. Pretty well hit. Long run for Corey Hart. And that is a foul ball. Hart cannot come up with it. Good effort, though. Hart knows this right field corner as well as anyone, and he really knows when to start a slide and try to make a spectacular catch, and he almost did here.
And he also knows there's not a whole lot of room between that foul line and that wall. That's concrete down below that padding, and you can hurt yourself, but Corey Hart knows it as well as anyone.
Ball and 2 strikes on Jerry Hariston. Hariston walked and scored in the first. And a pitch out. Nothing doing.
Ordinarily, you don't want to go with a slide step when you pitch out because, you know, the runner really, if he sees the slide step, isn't going to go.
Yeah, that's when you want that big leg kick. You want to entice him to run.
You don't want to throw over before you pitch out either.
Oh, Tavares is likely to be running here at 2-2. There he goes. And that one's hit well. Forget about this one. Hariston into deep left center, and the Reds back on top with a 2-run home run from Jerry Hariston. And that is a perfect example of how a running game can take a little focus away from a pitcher. Hariston got a great pitch to drive, and he puts the Reds on top 3-1.
And sometimes you worry too much about the man at first base and not enough about the hitter, and because of that, you give him a cookie right down the middle on a 1-2 count. It looked like a fastball. Ordinarily, that would be a split-fingered fastball situation, but maybe with a man at first. Wanted to give Jason a chance to throw him out. And not a good pitch on a 1-2 count. Right down the middle.
And a no-doubter for Hariston, his first home run of the year, his first RBIs of the year. And after Parra falls behind Votto, Kendall wants a word with him.
So 2 of the 3 guys that didn't play yesterday doing a pretty good job so far. Hey, families, check out the fun at the Associated Bank Kids Zone at Miller Park. Visit every home game from the time the gates open until the end of the 8th inning. Associated Bank Kids Zone, that's associated with fun.
Votto's doubled in a run his last time up. Put the Reds on the board in the first inning. Has 9 RBIs so far this year. Got in on his hands a bit. And Hardy takes care of Joey Votto for out number 1. There's a great area out there. See those bricks? Those bricks came from County Stadium. That's the back wall to the Airtran area down there, the landing zone.
That's a great vantage point to watch a game.
And a good crowd out there once again. Some excellent spots to bring a group. I love that spot out there.
You can have fun in that spot right there no matter what the score. That just looks like fun.
I like how the Brewers kind of implemented some of County Stadium into Miller Park as well. That's one of the areas where they did so with the bricks on the wall. Made a lot of upgrades this year to Miller Park. Really looks beautiful. Despite the win-loss numbers on the opening homestand, we've had a lot of fun reconnecting with the fans and just seeing all the new amenities. The fan zone has been upgraded. There's 3 retail areas now at Miller Park. All the suites were renovated. The new Harley-Davidson deck. And Airtran on board this year.
Even with the 3-game losing streak, the Brewers have been in a position to either tie or win in the 9th inning in all 3. It's been an exciting homestand. It hasn't worked out the way the Brewers would like.
The Brewers won their home opener against the Cubs. Haven't won since. In the right, Corey Hart with just enough room. Phillips retired. F9, 2 outs in the inning. Reds are getting some good swings on Manny Parra.
Fastball's up. When he had success, it's down around the knees. And you know, his first 3 innings in San Francisco, I mean, he was right on the corners and down in the zone. For whatever reason, in the 4th, everything got up in the zone. That was the issue for Gallardo yesterday.
Well, it all came in one bunch against Gallardo. He was cruising right along until the 3rd inning when he gave up 6 runs. And then, to his credit, Gallardo got locked in again after that 6-run inning. A lot of pitchers, if they make it through an inning like that, usually struggle in the next inning. He threw over 40 pitches in the 3rd inning. Fielder's got this one, and he takes care of Bruce. After the 2-run homer, Meddy retires the side in order, but Jerry Hariston does some damage. With Taveras at first, Hariston got a good pitch and made him pay.
It's, you know, everybody sits here and tries to blow smoke and says, oh, you know, the crowd was a big part of it and this and that. Actually, in Milwaukee, it really was. And I can sincerely say that. And one thing I don't do is BS.
That's true. He doesn't BS. I mean, he's right at it. And he'll tell you what he thinks. And he's right about the crowd last year at Miller Park. played a huge role in the success in getting to the postseason.
Kendall, who played here many times as a competitor, never really understood what it meant to be a hometown player here, and immediately dove into the community, found a house, and there's a bad throw from Encarnacion. Kendall thought about third. He'll retreat to first on what will be an error from third baseman Edwin Encarnacion.
No, that's the thing that absolutely drives the Red crazy about Encarnacion. I mean, completely nonchalant, as though he doesn't even care. He just flips it out there. He had all the time in the world to throw out Kendall. Take a couple of crow hops and get a good throw off. That top ball sails. He got under it. And no chance for Votto at first.
2 seasons, 20+ errors at third base, and the Achilles heel of his game. So the Brewers with a leadoff runner aboard. That gives Parra a chance to bunt a runner over. Anyway, back to Kendall. You know, he talked about this spring, and he really loves Milwaukee. And I mean, he loves it here. He loves the town. He loves living here. He certainly enjoys the fans and playing for this team. But he said, I want to finish my career as a Brewer. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been around a lot. He's done a lot in his career, and he enjoys the guys on the team. I mean, that's a key component of what he's talking about. He enjoys playing on the ball club. He feels challenged every time he goes out there and getting a pitcher through a ball game. He takes a lot of pride in it. And he feels he has pitchers, not only starters, but relievers that are coachable and guys that will listen to him.
That's why when you hear all the talk about Jason Kendall and what he does at the plate, he's going to hit. You know, Kendall's a guy who he's going to hit 250, 260. He thinks he's still, you know, a 280, 290 hitter. We'll see. Maybe he is still, but his offense is a bonus. What he does with the pitching staff and the way he handles the pitching staff and moves around behind the plate, that's what he brings to the ballpark every day that helps this become a winning team.
Yeah, he's a career 293 hitter. Let's keep that in mind. Although, you know, he's got a lot of games behind the plate under his belt. I doubt he's going to be a 300 hitter again. But don't tell Jason Kendall that his offense is a bonus.
Yeah, make sure you tell him Bill said that.
B.A.
Now, Kendall was pretty blunt this spring. He said, I'm no 240 hitter. The fans in Milwaukee have not seen what I can do at the plate. I'm much better than I showed offensively last year. Had a couple of hits yesterday. He's on via an error here in the third inning. Three and two the count on Parra. So both pitchers facing their mound opponents at the plate have gone to a full count situation. Parra did it with Arroyo back of the second and struck him out. Parra packs a little punch in his bat as well. Curveball popped up. Hannigan has it for the out. So Parra unable to advance. Kendall there, and one away as we go back to the top of the order.
3-2 breaking ball to the pitcher. How about that pitch? Maybe Arroyo was watching Manny take batting practice today. He was putting a few balls into the seats.
Counsell now with one away. Speaking of guys who love playing in Milwaukee, but he's from Milwaukee, so you can understand.
That doesn't count.
Grew up in Whitefish Bay. His dad was part of the public relations team here for the Brewers when Counsell was a kid.
John Counsell. Yep, did a fair amount of speaking engagements all over the state with John.
We get to see John down in Florida every year.
Yeah.
He lived down in Florida. Come over to Miami when the Brewers play the Marlins each season.
Yep, John and Jan. Craig's folks.
Counsell re-signing with the Brewers as a free agent. Another guy who just makes the team better. And he hammers that one down the line. It's hooking foul. Counsell got good wood on it, but out in front. 2-1.
Yeah, Craig upset with himself. He couldn't keep that ball fair because that was a pretty good pitch to hit. He's been pulling the ball with much more authority this year.
Counsell in his new batting stance. Feels like he can get to that inside pitch. The breaking ball strike. Sweeping breaking ball from Arroyo. That's his signature pitch right there.
And against right-handers will throw that pitch and drop down a bit. And they really have to concentrate on staying closed. Not going to drop down too much with a left-hander up.
Kendall with a small lead at first. Little chopper. Phillips. Votto gets the lead out. Phillips standing there waiting for it, saying, you know, I had that, you know.
I'm not sure if he got it where he was going to go with it because Votto won at first base.
That's a good point.
He was on his way to second. Check it out.
Powerball home run leaderboard. Corey Hart leads the way with 3 home runs. All 3 of those long balls have come on the homestand. 3 home runs in 4 days, and Hardy now with home runs in back-to-back games. So Hart with 2 outs. And Counsell trading places with Kendall at first base. Now, no doubt Arroyo has seen the video of Hart's success here lately. Trying to crowd him inside. That's the one thing about driving the ball to the opposite field. You'll start to see some pitches you can pull after that.
Man, not that he needs to, because he's shown pretty good power to that opposite field.
Hart has a 5-game hit streak going. 3 homers and 5 RBIs on the homestand. Curveball strike. 2-1. 68 miles an hour on that breaking ball. Arroyo's been a workhorse for the Reds the last 4 years, making at least 32 starts in each of the last 4 seasons and at least 200 innings in those 4 years as well. He takes the ball every 5th day. Remember the dismal start he was off to last year?
Yeah.
It was borderline whether Arroyo was going to remain in the rotation, but he put it together in the second half.
He had a good second half too. After the All-Star break, he was 8-4. ERA at about 3.5.
Well, he had one of the worst starts of any regular starting pitcher last year in the big leagues. He went 1 inning and gave up 10 earned runs against Toronto. That was in late June, but after that outing, he won 11 games. He was 11-4 with a 3.42 ERA the rest of the way. As Hart draws the walk. So good at bat for Corey Hart, and the Brewers with 2 men on base with 2 outs. Inning started with an error. Now 2 on for Braun. Arroyo did not want Braun to hit in this inning with men on.
Now the benefits of seeing the baseball and trusting your hands and not jumping at the ball. That's what Corey's been doing since the beginning of spring training.
And now Braun with a chance. Ryan popped up his first time up. He chased a breaking ball down and away. Takes one right down the chute. It's kind of the way it goes when you're struggling a little bit, isn't it? You're always down in the count, it seems.
Seems like you walk up there and it's a 0-2 count. I've been there too. Everybody has.
Is that when you're begging for the pop-ups?
Yeah. Please stay in here. Catch it.
Back up the middle. Phillips is there. Bobbles, throw to second, and it's not in time. That almost was a spectacular play from Brandon Phillips, but only the speed of Corey Hart keeps the inning alive, and Braun has himself a base hit.
Yeah, any hesitation by Corey, and he's out at second base. So Corey's been doing a lot of different ways. You got to believe that's got to be a base hit for Prince. That looked like he was out. Wow, Brewers with a break. Eric Cooper at second base. It looked as though Corey was out on a pretty good play by Yanish.
Safe is the call, and the Brewers have the bases loaded for Fielder.
There it is. That is what I didn't see. It looked like he bobbled it and dropped it. As Diaz, the second base umpire.
Well, the Brewers once again with bases loaded. They stranded bases loaded twice yesterday, but getting some opportunities here. 2 outs in the inning. The Brewers down a pair. Hariston hit a 2-run homer in the top of this frame to put the Reds on top. 2-0. Fielder in the driver's seat now with Arroyo down in the count.
And Prince, another Brewer hitter that's had pretty good patience at the plate.
Got under one. Fielder slams his bat. And the inning ends. So the Brewers strand the bases loaded. Still 3-1 Reds. Let's get you caught up as we head to the fourth. The Reds and the Brewers. J.J. Hardy with his second home run in as many days. Manny Parra on the mound. Gave up a run in the first and a 2-run homer to Jerry Hariston. 3-1 Cincinnati. Parra's gone 3 innings. He's given up 3 hits. All 3 runs are earned. And has 1 strikeout. And Parra facing Encarnacion. He swings at the first pitch and 1 quick out. Parra has walked 2 and struck out 1 thus far. The Brewers again stranding the bases loaded. That has been a common theme here the last 2 days. Reds catcher Ryan Hannigan now. Hannigan's a good story. He signed as a free agent. Did not get drafted from Rollins College. And made it to the big leagues. You know how tough it can be when the club doesn't have any money invested. Hannigan lines to center. Seems like those guys, Rock, who sign as free agents, you know, the Wolf's always at the door every year. You know, they go from roster fillers to every level, but for a guy like that to make it to the big leagues, that's quite a story.
Well, he's got that determination, and he really doesn't let much bother him. It's, you know, some guys will get buried in A-ball and spend a couple, 3 years in A-ball, and finally get an opportunity, whether it's because of an injury or what have you. And then somebody gets to see him in spring training, and lo and behold, he's got himself a career.
Well, the Reds up there hacking. And a very quick inning for Manny Parra. 5 pitches and 3 outs for Manny. To the bottom of the 4th we go. Hardy will lead off when we come back. Three to 1 is our score. Cincinnati with a 2-run homer from Jerry Hariston, the difference. There's the duck and the Aflac trivia tonight. How many players in Brewers history have saved 40 games in a single season? Ponder that one. You know, one of them is closing for the Reds. You know that for a fact.
Yeah, these questions this year have been very easy.
Oh, yeah? You got the answer, huh?
Yeah.
Attaway. Easy for you. Hardy lays into one. Did he get enough? Not quite. One away as Hardy flies out to center field.
I know there were a couple of guys with 39. You know, Dan Kolb had 39. I think Turnbow had 39.
And Cordero with 44. Now closing games for the Reds.
I don't think David Weathers ever had that many saves.
Solomon Torres last year, 28 saves.
So how many guys did we mention there with 40?
Just throwing out some random examples. There's one. Just thinking of names that might be fresh on the mind.
Yeah.
You know, as we go through the mental Rolodex here with you at home. $40 saves is a lot.
Yeah, it is. How about 50 last year?
Whew. Cameron into center field. Back is Taveras. And that's over his head. Cameron will roll into second with a double. It is not easy to hit one over the head of Willie Taveras.
Yeah, particularly with how deep he plays out there in center field. Corey Hart able to do that last night in a no double situation for Cincinnati. Check this pitch out. Fastball down in the zone. Nice easy swing by Cam, and Tavares not even close to that one. Cameron hit that one hard.
Cameron's second double of the year. He had 2 hits last night. And the Brewers have a runner in scoring position with Hall at the plate and 1 out. And a breaking ball strike from Arroyo. The Brewers have had a base runner in every inning. Hardy's home run, the lone scoring inning for the Brewers. Milwaukee stranded the bases loaded in the last frame.
The Brewers really haven't had much problem getting men on base. I mean, throughout the course of a game and so far this year. And just missing that one hit to get him over the top. Had the bases loaded twice last night.
Hall with 3 hits on the homestand. He's 3 for 11 thus far. Ooh, takes one right down the middle. 2-2.
I think Billy caught looking for a breaking ball right there because that was a very hittable fastball. 88 miles an hour, not that much on it. Arroyo's not going to blow you away. He'll top out at about 91.
And Hall strikes out.
Game a 4-seamer, then that 2-seam fastball we were talking about in the first inning.
Aflac trivia. How many players in Brewers history has saved 40 in a single season? And that's it. Francisco Cordero just won. Set the franchise record in 2007. Good call on Turnbow and Cole. 39 apiece.
Yeah. I've been here for all that list.
Now Cordero saved 49 games for the Rangers a few years prior to his arrival in Milwaukee. 34 last year. Raleigh fingers. The save wasn't as it is today back when he pitched.
Raleigh had 3 inning saves. You're not going to be able to save 40 games when you're pitching 3 innings each.
Here's Kendall with 2 outs. Big bouncer to Encarnacion. And the side retired. So a 1-out double, stranded at second. Still 3-1 Reds.
Lead as we head to the top of the 5th inning here at Miller Park. The Brewers have announced a new community initiative that honors hometown heroes, and it recognizes residents throughout the state of Wisconsin for things they do in the community. And this month's winner is Fred Knippel of Franklin, Wisconsin, and he has spearheaded a computer recycling program. And Fred, tell us all about that.
The program helps low-income disabled people in the community because we take donated computers, refurbish them, and give them to those people for free. So it not only helps the disabled person, it helps everybody in that family. And Independence First is all about helping people maintain their independence with a disability. So to be a small part of that was just an honor, and being a hometown hero here, that, you know, it's just a little icing on the cake. But I'm not the true hero. The people with disabilities that deal with it every single day, they're the real heroes. And anything I can do to help them is what I want to do. I just am blessed with good health, but they need the help, so I'm happy to do it.
Well, we appreciate what you do for the community, and it's also a great honor that you've been recognized by the Brewers. I hope you enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right, guys, that's Fred Knippel. And if you want to nominate someone for a hometown hero, you can always log in to brewers.com/community. And once again, Fred Knippel actually threw out the ceremonial first pitch tonight. So that's one of the many things you can get if you're nominated as a hometown hero. B.A. and Rob?
All right, Telly, thanks. And thanks to Fred. And like a good hero does, he doesn't accept the credit, and that is a great program. I'm real proud of the Brewers for what they've done. Lynn Springers and her group, and Katina Shaw in the Community Relations Department. So you can find out more on the web, and hopefully you'll get a chance to make an impact and come see us at the ballpark.
And a lot of good people out there in this community, and it's good that they're being recognized. And for the record, he threw a pretty good pitch.
He did, right down the middle.
Yeah.
Well, Parra strikes out Arroyo to start the inning. And back to the top of the order now, Willie Taveras. Taveras walked and scored in the 3rd. It was his presence on the base paths that had Manny a little bit distracted. And Jerry Hariston uncorked a 2-run home run with Taveras at first in the 3rd inning. Manny going right after him, 2-2. Taveras grounded out his first time up against Parra. And he walks him again, and Parra visibly upset. And he should be after walking Taveras.
Yeah, you got to make that guy hit his way on. Anybody in that lineup. Hey, fans, visit the official online shop of the Brewers at brewers.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps and T-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and much, much more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the brewers.com shop.
Second time Taveras has walked, and now it sets up the same matchup that did damage back in the 3rd inning with Hariston at the plate and the base stealer at first.
Now this time maybe spend about 15% of your attention on the base runner and worry about Hariston. I think it was a little bit the flip-flop last time up. If he's going to steal, let him go. You know, paying some attention, but once you decide to go to home plate, 100% attention to that hitter.
Hariston in his 2nd year as a Red. That one got in on his hands. And an easy play for Braun. 2 outs in the inning. That was the pitch Parra was looking for last time up. Taveras stays put. Hariston put out. And now 2 gone for Joey Votto.
Well, that one about 6 inches different from the last one. That pitch up and in. Hariston not able to get the big part of the bat on it.
So Parra against the lefty Votto. Rock mentioned he handles left-handers well. He hit .292 last year against left-handed pitching. So far this year, Rock, he is 5 for 12 against lefties. Has a hit tonight against Parra.
Well, if you can hit, you can hit, right? I mean, both he and Jay Bruce, they stay in there pretty well. I mean, Votto has a lot more success against left-handers, but they don't try and pull the baseball. They've got very good power to left center, both of them.
Well, the Reds lose 2 left-handed sluggers, everyday players, and Adam Dunn and Ken Griffey Jr. And those 2 were put on the trade market last year primarily because Votto and Bruce showed they can hit lefties and they can also be everyday players and middle of the lineup type performers.
Getting at about 1/10 of the price.
For now.
Both of those guys making big money, Adam Dunn and Ken Griffey Jr.
Well, Votto brings the defensive game to the ballpark as well. He is a slick fielding first baseman. He's got a chance to be a Gold Glove first baseman before it's said and done. He's a good ball player here, Joey Votto. Fastball strike. Goodwood for Parra right on the outside corner.
There's certainly a running count right here if you're Willie Tavares. You got 2 strikes on the hitter. You know, worst case scenario, you get thrown out, and then you have Votto leading off the next inning. But he doesn't get thrown out much.
There he goes. Down in the dirt. Kendall digs it out. And Tavares steals his second base of the year.
Well, he's fast, isn't he?
Man.
He didn't even have that good a jump. I mean, he outran that baseball. Tough pitch for Kendall to throw on that split-fingered fastball in the dirt. Right there, you see he has to pick it out of the dirt and then make the throw. Made it close, but Tavares steals it.
So now Tavares in scoring position for Votto. 3-1 Reds. Took the lead in the 3rd inning on a 2-run homer by Hariston. Kendall keeps that one in front. That one may have got him a little bit on the hand.
Jason battling the flu bug just a bit and not feeling 100%. And you know, when you're a little bit under the weather, these hurt a little bit more than normal. Yeah, you get that achy feeling. You sit around, you're in December, you're feeling sick, and you have a guy throwing a baseball at you.
A base open at first. And Manny Parra gets him. Spins one up there. Votto down on strikes. And the inning is over. Manny with a couple of scoreless innings. Well, the Reds lead it 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. And the Airtran Airways area nice and full tonight. Manny Parra leads off for the Brewers. Bronson Arroyo back on the mound for his 5th inning of work. Parra popped up his last time up despite working the count full. Arroyo with 1 strikeout and has been able to pitch out of some trouble here tonight. The Brewers have had a man on in every inning. Stranded the bases loaded against Arroyo in the 3rd. Arroyo got fielder on a pop-up in that 3rd inning. Brewers stranded a runner at 2nd last inning. There's a called strike 3 on the back door. And Parra gone. 2nd strikeout for Arroyo.
And 2nd strikeout in the last 3 hitters for Arroyo. Breaking ball. Able to catch the outside corner. Well, tonight's Tavern the game winner is Aunt Mary's Hooterville, located in Blue Mounds. Now, somebody's playing a joke on me, right? If the Tavern contact calls the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a 2009 Brewers home game. This call for courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and our good friends at Miller Lite. You know, Blue Mounds, Wisconsin is just west of Madison.
Is that right?
So I know half of it is true.
I've heard of double entendre, but never triple.
We want to say hello to everybody at Aunt Mary's Hooterville in Blue Mounds.
I bet they're having a ball tonight. No doubt about it. Speaking of hellos, I want to send out a couple of birthday wishes to loyal Brewer fans watching. Al Graff out in lacrosse. He's 80 tomorrow. And Leona Clem, rock 100 years old.
Nice.
Dialed into the Brewers in 09. So Al and Leona, great to have you watching tonight. He's headed to Aunt Mary's, you can bet.
It's not too far from here.
Where was that again?
Blue Mounds, Wisconsin,
okay.
Just west down Highway 18 in Madison, by Madison. Got to check that place out. We should do an appearance over there.
Okay.
Me and you.
That's a good call.
Our friends with Miller.
Two and two to Counsell. So Craig has been on twice. He walked to the first, reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Getting to start tonight for Ricky Weeks at second base. Weeks, a scheduled night off. But I'm sure it only influenced his manager's decision when he was hit by that pitch yesterday.
Yeah.
Boy, they're still talking about that around the Brewers clubhouse. How Weeks took that shot from Volquez in the jaw. Not only got up, but stayed in the game.
See the picture in the paper today?
That was a good picture.
A direct shot.
Man, that was something.
Yeah.
Sidearm breaking ball. Arroyo breaks out a new wrinkle on Counsell. And it's the 2nd out. Well, we've talked a lot about Corey Hart tonight and his plate discipline. Hear it from him right before the Brewers broke spring training.
Plate discipline is really the only thing that I feel like I need to work on a lot. So I think that's just one of the things, is trying to stay patient and work on little things I can do to be more consistent by not swinging at so many pitches. And, you know, it's one of those things that obviously it's a work in progress, but, you know, I'll see how it goes throughout the year.
Now, plate discipline is something that you ordinarily learn as, you know, the longer you're around in the major leagues. I mean, Corey Hart certainly has come a long way in 1 year. At least he's had a very good start to this season in that regard.
Maka demands it. Certainly Dale Swaim, the new hitting coach, has made it a priority. Hittable pitches. Don't let them go by. Unhittable pitches, let them go by. Of course, when you get to 2 strikes, you're just up there in survival mode.
And if you get a hittable pitch early in the count, so what? First pitch, second pitch. Who says that you have to, you know, see pitches, you know, especially in in RBI situations. A lot of times your best pitch to hit is your first strike. Pitcher wants to get ahead of you, particularly when you have a reputation of taking pitches. That's when you get cookies early in the count.
Well, Hart draws another walk. So the beat goes on for Corey Hart. Now the Brewers have a base stealer at first. And Maka can afford to do some things here with the best base runner the Brewers have aboard, and Ryan Braun coming up.
Now coming into play today, the Brewers offense third in the National League in drawing walks at 37. Now it's 40. That's something you were never able to say in years past. So they have been very good at swinging at strikes.
Now the offense for the most part has had early success. You know, some of their shortcomings have been elevated because of the runs that the opposition has scored. I mean, you go through a week of the schedule and you're averaging 5-6 runs like the Brewers are right now, especially against the kind of pitching they're facing. You got to feel good about where the offense is. Not everybody's going to be hot at the same time. But the Brewers have a number of guys in their lineup that can carry the load offensively. It doesn't have to be Braun and Fielder every night. I think that was the big difference last year from the 07 season.
Now you average 5 runs a game throughout the season. That's a pretty good offense.
Hart wanted to run. He started and stopped, and Braun takes a strike. Corey does not have a stolen base attempt this year.
That's over 800 runs for the season, which isn't bad. That's pretty good. So yeah, you can't expect much more than 5-6 runs a game.
Arroyo gets a call from Chuck Merriweather, and it's 1-2. Braun reached on an infield hit last time up. And if it wasn't for the Gold Glove Brandon Phillips at second making a play, it might have gone into center for a run. Instead, Arroyo got out of it.
This might be a running situation, just like it was for Tavares in the top of the inning. 1-2, you get thrown out. You have Ryan with a fresh count and leading off the inning. And you're probably going to see a breaking ball from Arroyo, so his chances of stealing it are much better.
Hart stole 23 last year. Stays put, and Braun fouls it away. Corey Hart last year became the first player in franchise history to produce back-to-back 2020 seasons, or even 2 2020 seasons. Talking about at least 20 home runs and at least 20 stolen bases. No one had done it until Hart did it last year. Ball and 2 strikes. Hart takes off. And the throw is on the bag. Boy, what a peg by Hannigan. So Hart gunned down trying to steal a base. Hannigan a perfect throw to second. And the inning ends at second base.
Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By AirTran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Manny Parra against Brandon Phillips to start the 6th inning. It's 3-1 Reds. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder. Telly Hughes with you tonight. Craig Kashawn and Davey Nelson preparing for Brewers Live following the game. Hope they make plans to be with us. Say happy birthday to Jason Schauger down in the Brewers clubhouse.
Jason's 40. You're kidding.
Is that what that says?
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah. Maybe he's going to hit over to Aunt Mary's tonight.
No question.
40th birthday, you got to go, don't you?
Happy birthday, Jason.
Go somewhere.
They call him Boomer, you know.
Yeah. Good guy. Hard working, they all are down in the clubhouses.
Tony Migliaccio and his crew down there always do a great job. Phil Rosowitz. Phil Rosowitz made it into the game notes yesterday. Visiting clubhouse manager. I mean, you know you're big when you've entered into the game notes.
Must have hooked somebody up with some golf.
Yeah, it's beautiful time for golf right now.
Won't have any trouble getting on.
0-2 to Phillips. Ball and 2 strikes. Parra with 2 scoreless innings after the 2-run 3rd. Jerry Hariston hit a 2-run home run in that 3rd inning. Matter of fact, Parra, since that home run by Hariston, has retired 9 out of 10. The lone base runner, a Taveras walk. Manny has walked 3 in this game, has 3 strikeouts. 3-1 Reds, top of the 6th. 2-2. Light schedule in the National League tonight. Brewers, one of 3 games. The Brewers and the Reds, one of 3 games on the slate. The Marlins and the Braves. There's a call. Strike 3. Parra cuts down Phillips. Strikeout number 4 for Manny.
It looked like something off speed by Manny Parra that started in off the plate and caught the corner. Changeup by Manny. That's pretty good command of the changeup.
A Rock, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. One out for Jay Bruce, who is 0 for 2 against Parra tonight. Bruce homered yesterday, his first of the year. Scored a couple of runs. He struck out twice as well. Marlins and the Braves are nearing the end. Florida 5-1 lead over Atlanta. 2 teams off to great starts, each 5-1. Marlins, as Bruce draws the walk, they have a chance to be very good this year. They've got plenty of pitching and plenty of offense.
And they're always hanging around, you know, in September. But they have a lot of power on that club, a lot of good young talent. And as you mentioned, some power pitchers on that pitching staff. They can create a lot of problems for you. Hanley Ramirez off to a great start. You got Ugla hitting home runs. Yeah. What's new?
Well, here comes Bill Castro. Pitch count in that danger zone right now for Manny Parra. DeFelice loosening once again. Second consecutive night. Maka would love to get Parra through this 6th inning. Quick trip to the mound for Bill Castro. It's got to be frustrating for Castro. He's philosophy built on challenging hitters. You know, Bill's always telling us, you watch BP. Guy's throwing 70 miles an hour right down the middle of the plate. And not all of them are hits. So you take that to the mound, challenge hitters.
And especially when Billy's throwing BP. He's a pitcher. He's got that mentality.
That's right.
Sink it, cut it.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, a lot of times pitchers will give hitters a lot too much credit. You know, the big talk was when the Brewers went to the National League, finally the pitchers are going to realize how tough it is to hit and be more aggressive. Didn't work.
Well, there's always been that debate about this generation of players, my generation of players even, who came up, you know, using an aluminum bat. Pitchers who had to pitch against the aluminum bat, which pretty much covers everybody now.
Right.
Hall backing up. Nice play to second. The turn in time. What a double play. What a turn by Counsell. In and out of his glove like a flash. And the Brewers go around the horn to end the 6th inning.
Somebody fall down. Push him out of there.
Where's Randall Simon when we need him? Wow.
Is that a photo finish? That means the sausage race here at Miller Park. Davey and Craig back on board with you as well. And the Bratwurst will end up winning a very tight race. Trust me on that one. Davey, tight ball game here. 3-1 Reds right now. It's been a pretty good pitcher's duel between Bronson Arroyo and Manny Parra. Arroyo, though, from the Brewers hitter's perspective, only giving up the home run to Hardy. What's he done in this game?
Well, one of the things he's done so well, he's been able to pitch to contact. And he's, you know what, hitting is all about timing. Pitching is about trying to upset the timing of the hitter. And he's doing that, throwing a lot of off-speed pitches, pitching backwards in counts, fastball counts. He's throwing breaking balls and changeups.
All right, we're also working on our post-game show coming up after the ball game as well. Our on-field instructional is going to involve the infield, and Davey and Rock will talk more about that. Proper places to be. Also full post-game coverage from the players in the clubhouse as well. So stick around after the ball game, Brian.
Rock, is that why you were stretching between innings?
Yeah, well, we're going to need you. We're going to need 4 people down there. You're going to join us?
Whatever you need.
Got to get Craig in there, and I don't want Craig in there with his suit coat again. He needs to get dirty tonight.
He's got to wear that thing tomorrow.
Okay.
Ryan Braun leads off. He was at the plate when Hart was thrown out trying to steal. The Brewers have 3 hits against Arroyo. The Reds 3 hits against Parra, but they have made them count.
Well, the difference in the game, 2 walks that have scored. You know, 3 walks for Manny Parra. 2 of them have come around to score tonight.
Parra did a nice job to get out of that last inning. It was decision time for Ken Maka and Bill Castro. Parra with a man on and 1 out, but he got a double play ball from Encarnacion to end it. In tight, almost hit him.
You see Ryan leaning out over the plate just a bit. You know, cheating on that outside corner. Watch him just flinch. If you could see Ryan in this picture, then all of a sudden he has to straighten himself up. And nothing wrong with coming inside, especially when you see a hitter leaning out over the plate.
Gets jammed and a ground ball to Encarnacion. One away. Arroyo has the knack, as Davey mentioned, to change speeds, and it's tough to center up on Arroyo because not only does he change speeds with a number of different pitches, but he changes arm angles and changes speeds as well.
We haven't seen him do too much of the arm angle thing, but you know he throws so many breaking pitches with the curveball, the slider, the changeup. In that case right there with Ryan, he was able to eat him up with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. It's all a matter of perspective. I mean, you're used to seeing that 75, 80. All of a sudden, he run one in on your hands, and he's been throwing some pretty good two-seamers tonight.
It's that little hesitation by the hitter that makes all the difference. That's how a pitcher keeps it off the sweet spot. Arroyo did that to Fielder his last time up with the bases loaded. Prince was up there and had a hitter's count. And a 2-0 count, and Prince popped it up to win the inning and strand all three runners.
And it was a BP fastball. I mean, it was not a changeup. It wasn't a fastball, something in between, and Prince was out in front of it.
And gets it on the hands this time. Another pop up to left. 2 outs. Braun and Fielder go down in order. And here comes J.J. Hardy. Hardy, 1 of 3 hits tonight, and he made it count. His second home run of the year, his Powerball home run count. Goes to 2, and he hits his second home run in as many nights. Hardy now with 2 homers and 6 RBIs on the young season, game number 8 tonight. So if you're going to hit 133, but you're going to drive in 6 runs in the first 8 games, you're doing all right.
Yeah,
you're keeping it together.
Well, it's a hard 133. I mean, he's hit the ball a lot harder than that number will tell you.
That's true. And don't get us wrong, the hitters, they want their hits, but as a hitter, you know when you're swinging the bat well. I think Hardy knows he's swinging the bat well right now. Seeing the pitches, squaring up. Hits that one high in the air to left. Did he get enough of it? Hariston on the track. 2 outs. Make it 3 outs, and that's the inning. So Braun, Fielder, and Hardy go quickly. 3-1 Reds. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Triple Hop Brewed Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling.
And by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tundra Territory at Miller Park.
Hey fans, tomorrow's Time Warner Customer Appreciation Night right here at the ballpark as the Brewers take on the Cincinnati Reds in the final game of the 3-game series. Find a buy one, get one free Terrace ticket voucher for that game with your most recent Time Warner cable statement. That's good while supplies last.
Now Ken Maka to his bullpen. Mark DeFelice, after 2 scoreless innings last night, back on the mound tonight against Cincinnati in the 7th.
Well, nothing but right-handed bats coming up, so DeFelice is the man.
Bottom of the order for the Reds. The pitcher spot, Arroyo, due up 3rd in this inning. So we'll see what Dusty Baker does with his spot. Ryan Hanigan leads the way. Cincinnati catcher. He's had a hand in this one tonight. He threw out Corey Hart trying to steal second in the 5th inning.
That was a heck of a throw. My goodness. I didn't think there was any way that Hanigan was going to be able to get him, but that throw right on the money, quick release, and had a lot on it.
Well, Hanigan, if he doesn't throw Hart out in that 5th, even though there are 2 outs, Hart now in scoring position for Ryan Braun, who is left standing at the plate. 3-1 Cincinnati. And Hanigan lays off that cut fastball from DeFelice. DeFelice learned that cut fastball in 2005, pitching in winter ball down in the Caribbean, and it has truly changed his career. Starts with a strikeout.
Well, cut fastball is basically just a fastball that has a little bit of late movement right at the end. Not a slider, doesn't have the same spin, but very effective against right-handed bats.
Well, the bullpen still on the minds of Brewers fans, specifically Telly Hughes, the health status of Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, and it's good news. Trevor Hoffman will throw off the bullpen mound tomorrow, and he is more than likely expected to come back towards the later parts of this month. So hopefully that bullpen session will go well tomorrow. Trevor won't experience any soreness or any sort of discomfort after he has that bullpen session, and then maybe he'll be back in the Brewers bullpen by the end of the month.
Well, certainly good news for that Brewer bullpen, because when you get the closer back and Trevor Hoffman is back and available, everybody else has their roles defined, and I think everything kind of shakes itself out pretty good for that pen.
I think you're right. It's kind of what we saw early in the spring when Hoffman is pitching. 3 appearances this spring. Arroyo will hit here. Dusty Baker will send his starter to the plate with nobody on base and 2 outs.
Dusty Baker, an old schooler. We saw it in yesterday's ball game. You had nothing but right-handers up in the 7th, and he had Arthur Rhodes, a lefty, with nobody loosening up in the bullpen. So he's going to ask Arroyo to eat up another inning.
And Arroyo's pitch count in good shape right now. Arroyo making his 2nd start. He's pitched to beauty at this point. Only 3 hits and only 1 run. The only run was a J.J. Hardy home run in the 2nd inning. Gets under this one. That'll stay playable for Kendall. And Mark DeFelice continues to put up zeros. 3 up, 3 down. The Brewers coming up in the bottom of the 7th. It's The Brewers and the Reds, game 2. J.J. Hardy with a solo home run in the second inning. The only Brewer run at this point against Bronson Arroyo. Meanwhile, for the Reds, they got a run in the first and then a 2-run shot from Jerry Hariston. That was in the third inning. And that was Hariston's first home run of the year. Mike Cameron coming up. He doubled his last time up. Brad Fisher, wearing the mic, had this to say to Cameron after that hit.
Way to hit it, Cam. Nice job.
Thanks a lot, baby.
That's pretty when you hit one over to center fielder, the line drive like that.
Down, too.
What's that?
It was down, too.
Well, you just dropped that head.
Maybe?
You just dropped that head.
Cameron even has time to say hi to Brandon Phillips as he runs by. The guy can have multiple conversations.
Multitasker.
We appreciate Brad Fisher wearing the microphone for us tonight. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of action at third base. So the third base coach has been rendered silent tonight. Hopefully that'll change.
Only one man has actually stopped at third base. That was Craig Counsell in the third inning. J.J. Hardy ran by, got a handshake.
Cameron into left field. Did he get this one? Hariston will make the play. Another narrow miss on the bat. Hardy a couple of times. Now Cameron.
That's 6 of those in last night's ball game. It has been warning track power for the Crew. Last couple of days, a couple of near misses.
Seth McClung gets loose for the Brewers. Can't imagine that DeFelice would come out for another inning after going 2 last night. Brewers trying to get something started here. Arroyo's pitch count in good shape. He's only at 96 as he works in the 7th inning. Arroyo had some injury issues to start the year. He had carpal tunnel syndrome in his wrist that had his fingers on his pitching hand numb, especially his first 2 fingers. And he actually had to have a cortisone shot for that. Arroyo is a musician, an accomplished musician at that. He's a guitar player, singer, songwriter, and had to take a cortisone shot just to get ready for the season. And was able to make his opening day start. Told Dusty Baker he was back to 100%. Hall with a base hit. So Billy has his first hit of the night, and the Brewers with a man on with 1 out.
Yeah, they say his fingers went numb. This was in spring training, and can't imagine a type of pitcher that would be more affected by that than Bronson Arroyo, a touch and field type pitcher. A nice at bat by Billy Hall, taking that fastball, middle in, shooting at the right field. That's a good approach.
So Hall is aboard, and that brings the tying run to the plate in Jason Kendall. Former battery mates in Pittsburgh, Kendall and Arroyo. Brad Nelson would be next. He'll hit for DeFelice. (2-0). Kendall reached on an error back in the 3rd inning. Grounded out his last time up.
Well, this is ordinarily the spot that Arroyo is going to change up. I mean, take a little bit off the fastball, get a hitter out in front. See what he does here. I'd be surprised to see Jason take one.
He does take one. It's a curveball, and it's 3-0. So Kendall in the driver's seat here. I bet Bill's house he takes this pitch.
My house?
All of them. Take it all the way. A fastball right down the middle. Well, here comes the pitch of action for Jason Kendall. Tying run at the plate, 7th inning. And a slider, and Kendall lays off. Arroyo tried to dip down 3/4 to get him to chase. He did not. And now the Brewers will bring the go-ahead run to the plate. Here comes Brad Nelson and our Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin text question. Are the Brewers becoming too reliant on the home run? Liam from West Allis wants to know.
Well, it seems like the way they're scoring runs the last couple of years, it's been a home run hitting ball club. You'd certainly like to see them a little bit more effective with runners in scoring position. That's certainly been an issue on this homestand with all the runners that they have left out there. They left the bases loaded on a number of occasions on this homestand. But they are what they are. They hit home runs, and that's what their offense is built for.
It's been a single and a walk in this inning. By the way, you can send your text questions, get interactive with us here in the booth this year. 234-234 is the number. Keyword Brewers. So Arroyo lifted. Dusty allowed him to hit in the top of this inning, but he leaves with 2 on base. Three to one, the Reds have the lead. The Brewers with 2 men on base. Billy Hall singled with 1 out, and then Kendall walked. So Ken Maka, who had sent left-handed hitting Brad Nelson up there, once he was announced, Dusty Baker made the move to the left-handed pitcher. So Maka counters with Ricky Weeks. Still see some swelling on the left jaw of Ricky Weeks. This was last night against Volquez. Right off the face. Not only did he get up, but he stayed in the game.
Tough kid.
And Roger Kaplinger was surprised that everything was in place when he went out there.
No blood.
So here comes Weeks against Danny Herrera, who came over in the Josh Hamilton trade. He came over with Volquez last year.
Yeah, soft-throwing left-hander off to a rough start. He's walked 3 in an inning and 2/3, so Ricky got to be patient. Herrera tries to get you to chase off the corner.
And a big ovation for Ricky Weeks. Fast becoming a fan favorite here in 09. The tying run is aboard. Kendall at first base. Ricky Weeks the go-ahead run. A long ball here. The Brewers take the lead. Herrera does a lot of that. He throws a lot of strikes.
And sweeping sliders. Doesn't want to really challenge you inside too much. Tries to sink that fastball off the corner and then get the slider over.
Brewers saw him last year 1 time. Pitched a scoreless inning. And there's his pitch. He's got that screwball changeup that he throws. Turns it over Fernando style. 5'7", 145 pounds. Danny Herrera from Odessa, Texas. Earned his way on the big league roster this year. There's a screwball. You can't wait long enough for it, it seems, as a hitter.
Yeah, he throws it, has pretty good arm action on it. Actually works a little bit like a DeFelice cutter, but with nothing on it. Goes actually away from a right-handed hitter.
Herrera has Weeks down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Trying to sneak a fastball by him. And when he throws a fastball at 83, he really does try to sneak it by you.
Humping up.
Counsell would be next, top of the order. Weeks pinch hitting here for DeFelice. 1 man out. The Brewers have the tying run aboard at first base. And a hot hitter at the plate in Ricky Weeks. Herrera had 2 visits to the big leagues last year. He was called up in June, just pitched in a couple of games, and then back up in mid-September. That's when the Brewers saw him last, late September of last year. He's only pitched in 9 major league games in his entire career.
Well, he showed Ricky the fastball, as we talked about. He tries to get you to chase the fastball. He didn't want to throw it for a strike. Probably going to see that Scroogey here.
Two and 2 to count. And there it is. And it misses inside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As Rock pointed out, Herrera has walked 3 batters in his 2 games. So another pitcher you have to be patient with. An action pitch, full count. Back up the middle. Right there is Phillips, and that is going to start a 4-3 double play. They had him positioned perfectly, and the rally is snuffed out by the left-hander Herrera. 2 on, 1 out, 1 swing of the bat, the inning ends, and it's still 3-1 Reds.
Nights here at Miller Park. High school and college students will be able to receive terrace reserve and bleacher tickets for half price on Friday home games, as long as you show your current ID at the Miller Park ticket office. This offer does not include the Miller Lite beer pen and all marquee games at Miller Park.
A crowd of over 27,000 on hand here tonight. Tuesday night baseball at Miller Park. And the new pitcher, Seth McClung, in relief of Mark DeFelice, who works a scoreless 7th inning.
Now, DeFelice does a very nice job once again. 3 up and 3 down. McClung has been pretty good as of late. First outing a bit rough in San Francisco, but since that time he's pitched much better. Got to keep the Reds off the board in this 8th inning.
So McClung, whose nickname is Big Red, facing the Reds in the 8th inning. 3-1, Cincinnati leads. Nothing but zeros on the board since the 3rd inning. Parra against Arroyo. The Reds made their 3 hits count. Top of the order against McClung. It's Taveras to lead off. He's been on twice. 2 walks. Has a stolen base. And that one's into right. Hart plays it on a hop. Hart was shallow. For a moment thought he might have a play, but wisely holds up. Well, it turned out to be a good pitching matchup tonight. The left-handed Parra and the right-handed Arroyo, and similar lines with the exception of the home run allowed by Parra that produced 2 runs off the bat of Hariston.
Well, none of the 4 walks by Bronson Arroyo scored, but 2 of the walks that Manny Parra issued came around to score. That's the difference in the game.
So Bronson Arroyo a chance to win his 2nd. Arroyo last time out gave up 5 runs against the New York Mets. Here's the man who made the difference in the game when he hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd, Jerry Hariston. Hariston participated in the World Baseball Classic. He and his brother Scott played for Team Mexico. The Hariston brothers, their grandmother from Mexico. So that was kind of a late bonus for the Hariston brothers. They got a chance to go down to Mexico and play in the World Baseball Classic.
You mean playing or finding out that they were eligible?
Both. They found out they were eligible late, and then they got a chance to go play.
All right.
I mean, it's one thing to be a brother tandem in the big leagues. That's special enough.
Right.
But to be able to play in the World Baseball Classic.
Interesting, some of the players that actually played for some of the countries that they played for. DeFelice, one of them.
That's right. Yeah, DeFelice played for Team Italy. 4 generations is where the limit was. Taveras takes off. He looked like he had that base stolen. Long run for Cameron, but he's there for the out. Taveras had a stolen base right in front of him. Hariston pops it up. Reds back in here tomorrow, final game of the series, and we're back on WMLW. It's our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Don't forget, half-price loge level tickets. That's our level up here where the press box is. So
those are good seats.
Loge level tickets half price tomorrow if you want to log on to Brewers.com or make a phone call to the ticket office. Off day Thursday, then the Brewers go to New York. And our first look at Citi Field in New York. The Mets and the Brewers. Line shot right at Counsell. 2 outs. By the way, Ken Maka shifted up his starting rotation for that series in New York. He has flip-flopped Giovanni Gallardo and Jeff Suppan. As you see Votto line out to Counsell. So that sets up quite a matchup Saturday. Giovanni Gallardo against Johan Santana. And we'll have it for you right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Yeah, Santana, tough luck loser his last time out. Gave up a couple of unearned runs, cost him the ball game against the Marlins.
So Suppan will pitch Sunday against Mike Pelfrey. Brewers will have some days off here coming up. They've got one Thursday and then another one next Monday prior to the Phillies series. So that allowed Ken Maka to shake up the rotation a little bit. And I think primarily he wanted to separate Bush from Suppan.
Yeah, similar type pitchers.
Which is what he has achieved with Gallardo pitching Saturday. Looking forward to getting to Citi Field. They've got the facade out there that's the replica of Ebbets Field. And they opened the ballpark up yesterday. The Padres beat the Mets. So we'll get one of the first few games at Citi Field. We'll get to see it up close and personal.
See the ticket prices for some of the seats for that ball game? $700.
Yeah, they were selling fast.
Boy. It's nice to go to New York, but good to only be there 3 days with those prices.
Empty out your wallet. Two brand new ballparks. Yankee Stadium will open Thursday. And Willie Randolph was invited to Yankee Stadium. Trying to get as many former Yankees there as possible. Randolph, because it's an off day for the Brewers, will be able to be a part of those festivities. He's looking forward to that. The Brewers bench coach. Runner takes off. Kendall, no chance. Good play by Counsell to keep Taveras at second. Taveras got a big jump. He steals his second of the night.
Yeah, Seth is relatively slow to home plate, and you know, a guy like Willie Taveras is going to be licking his chops out there at first base. Somewhat surprising it took him so long to steal it. I think even a perfect throw, it might have been close, but still I think he would have beat it.
He certainly provides instant offense when he is on base. He's been on base 3 times. Scored one of the 3 runs. Now in scoring position for Brandon Phillips. And McClung walks him. Tried a 3-1 slider. And 2 on for Bruce.
Can't imagine why you would pitch around Brandon Phillips to get to Jay Bruce, although Bruce, except for the home run, his first time up yesterday, hasn't had that great of a series, but still a left-handed hitter, much more dangerous against McClung.
Jay Bruce turned 22 last Friday. A young phenom coming up through that red system. Didn't take him long to get to the big leagues. Finished 4th in the Rookie of the Year voting last year. So this is a big spot for McClung. The Brewers cannot afford to give up any more runs. Two on, 2 out for McClung. Bruce did some damage last year in about 2/3 of a season. 21 home runs, 450 plate appearances. He only had 413 at-bats last year.
Man, he can hit, and a lot of his power comes to left field. That's what makes him so tough to pitch to.
He's in a hitter's count here. 2 on, 2 out. And Bruce backs out of there. That was a similar play the other day with Josh Beckett and Bobby Abreu, but Beckett fired one at his head and got a 6-game suspension that was announced today.
And should have. No reason to do that. I mean, you could really hurt somebody doing that.
Abreu called a late timeout. Beckett was already in his motion. At least he was looking back at second. And he just went on through with a pitch, and he just threw one between the catcher and the head of Abreu, and they cleared the benches. Beckett got 6 games. Walked him 4 straight. And the bases are loaded.
Not much you can do to defend a walk. I mean, that's kind of been the story of this homestand so far. And Jason Kendall trying to go out there and Well, give McClung a breather.
And Bill Castro on his way out to say, make sure that you do not do to Encarnacion what we did last night.
And that means leave one out over the plate. You can bust him hard inside and get him out of the way, but if you leave one out over the plate when he tried to come inside, he hit it out of the ballpark. A couple of interesting pitches in this inning. A 3-1 curveball to Brandon Phillips. He ended up drawing a walk, and a 1-ball no-strike curveball to Jay Bruce. I mean, for a guy that throws in the mid-90s, interesting choice of pitches.
Well, we'll see what McClung has in mind for Encarnacion, who hit a grand slam here yesterday. McClung falls behind. Boy, this is where it is right now. This game is on the line with McClung against Encarnacion. A hit and 2 walks have the bases loaded against Big Red. There's a good pitch for a strike.
I'm going to throw a slider. How about that? Gutsy pitch.
Encarnacion has committed an error in this game. It did not lead to a run. Arroyo managed to pitch out of a bases loaded jam. That was way back in the 3rd. Now he's up there with a bases loaded. 2 balls and a strike. Taveras singled, stole a base. Now at third base. Phillips walked. Jay Bruce walked. The Brewers will have the top of the order coming up in the 8th. McClung trying to keep him in striking distance. Into center field. Mike Cameron going back. And he'll have room. A long fly ball out. Wow. The Reds strand 3, but the Brewers, the top of the order. Ryan Braun will hit 3rd. 3-1. Cincinnati leads Milwaukee. Stay with us.
To the bottom of the 8th inning, where it's a 3-1 Cincinnati lead. We want to make sure that you join us after the game for Brewers Live. We'll hear from manager Ken Maka. We'll also have our on-field instructional. Plus, we'll also hopefully hear from a Brewers player after they hopefully come back here in this inning. Guys, let's send it back up to you.
Thanks, Telly. A lot of hopefullys in there. I'm with you on all 3 of them. Roof is closed. The Brewers trying to snap a 3-game losing streak here at Miller Park after winning the home opener on Friday. Craig Counsell leads off. Dusty Baker sticks with Danny Herrera. Counsell got the start at second tonight. Has been on twice. He struck out last time up. has walked and reached on a fielder's choice.
Hey, you don't mind a left-hander up against this guy because it essentially takes away that screwball. You throw the slider instead, slider fastball, and I would imagine that this will be his last hitter.
Corey Hart coming up next. Villanueva getting loose for the 9th.
David Weathers getting loose in that Reds bullpen.
Weathers was up last inning. Herrera came on and got Ricky Weeks to ground into a double play ball. Weeks was pinch hitting with 2 on and 1 out. The double play into the inning. Just can't make yourself wait long enough. This guy, he's something else, Herrera. The less is more theory applies here. That'll be his last hitter. He does a nice job tonight. Goes a complete inning. And Baker is going to make the call to the bullpen. So it's Weathers, the former Brewer, who will come in. Weathers pitched last night in a scoreless inning. Pitching change at Miller Park. Brewers down 2 in the 8th. Stay with us.
Physically, I make sure I was ready as I can be, and I've done as many focus drills and visualizations as I can do, and make sure that my body's ready, my mind's ready for 6-7 months instead of 5-6 months than it was last year.
That's Corey Hart talking about his preparations for the 09 season. Not only the physical work that he did, but he did a lot of concentration drills this offseason. It's a new facet of the game, new facet of off-season training. Hart left no stone unturned, and now is trying to get a board for Ryan Braun. The Brewers still down 2. David Weathers in the game for the Reds. Already in his 4th game of the season for Dusty Baker.
Well, Weathers a guy that was able to get off the hook in yesterday's ball game. He actually gave up a triple to Corey and then walked back-to-back hitters to get out of the inning. A la Pete Vukovich. David Weathers will normally stay away from right-handers and left-handers and throw a pretty good changeup. Been around a long time.
Yeah, a milestone of sorts for Weathers, appearing in his 900th Major League game. He is the 20th Major League pitcher to accomplish that feat. He mentioned yesterday he gave up that triple to Hart, and then he walked Braun and Fielder. But he got Hardy on a line drive bullet to center field to end the inning. The Brewers left the bases loaded.
It really looked like he did it on purpose. He was going to see if Braun and Fielder were going to swing at bad pitches, which they didn't. He wasn't about to lose the ball game with those 2 guys up. JJ hit the ball hard last night, but right at Tavares in center field.
If you're wondering who the all-time leader in games pitched is, think back to the left-hander.
Jesse Orozco.
Jesse Orozco. Matter of fact, the top 3 guys on the list are left-handed. Jesse Orozco.
John Franco, is he up there?
John Franco's third. Mike Stanton's still active, and he is second on that list. Number 900 for Weathers. And he strikes out Corey Hart. 2 outs.
So I guess the bottom line is tie your kid's right hand behind his back, right? Make him use the left.
Exactly.
Left-handers have a tendency to stay around a long time. There's a slider off the plate. That's a pitch that Corey's been doing a good job of laying off. Not that time.
So 2 outs, and here's Braun. Brewers running out of time here. Down to their final 4 outs. Cincinnati got a 2-run homer from Jerry Hariston in the 3rd. And that is the difference in the ballgame. Boy, doesn't it figure on a night when Brewer pitching holds the Reds down to 3 runs, the Brewer offense comes up short to this point.
It's not over yet.
Brewers with 1 run on 4 hits. Hardy hit the home run in the 2nd inning to produce the only run. I'd be very interested to see what Weathers does with Fielder if Braun reaches. It would be a similar situation to what we saw last night when he worked around Prince. And he worked around Prince to load the bases.
There's Arthur Rhodes. He must be ready because he's not doing much out there, and Prince is on deck.
Strike 1.
Low.
Weathers going away from Braun. Misses inside. It's hit sharply, but right at Encarnacion for the final out of the inning. So the Brewers come up empty in the 8th. Now we go to the 9th, down 3-1. Well, coming down to the end here, we head to the 9th at Miller Park. Second game of this series with the Reds, the series finale tomorrow. And the Brewers 2-5 on the season so far. Carlos Villanueva to pitch the 9th. 3-1 Cincinnati as Villanueva will try to get the Brewers back to the dugout, down only 2.
Yeah, 3 appearances. He's got a win, he's got a loss, and he's got a save. So a lot going on the line for Carlos so far this year.
Ryan Hanigan will lead off for the Reds. Hanigan, then Giannis. And then the pitcher spot due up for Dusty Baker. Hanigan is 0 for 3, struck out last time up. Hit the ball sharply in the 4th, but lined out to center. And there is Cordero, the great Reds closer. Cordero saved it last night. Villanueva picked up a win and a save earlier this season. His first save of the year in San Francisco. And he gets Hanigan to chase. 2-2.
Well, it was Alfonso Soriano that hit a first pitch fastball off of him out of the ballpark for that dramatic Cubs victory. That was the blown save and the loss. No, but before that he had faced 6 batters in 2 appearances and got all 6 out.
Well, Carlos is all about command. He's a guy who uses the changeup effectively. And when he has that pitch, it seems like everything else kind of falls into place for him.
No, that and being able to locate his fastball, keeping it down and off the middle of the plate. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, that's the most important pitch, strike one, and ordinarily it's with the fastball.
It's his ability to throw strikes with all of his pitches in any count, in any situation, that has made him so valuable. Hall, that one took a bad bounce. Hall was there for it. It hit the lip between the grass and the dirt, bounced right over Billy Hall, who had already committed to the dive, and Hanigan's got a base hit.
Yeah, Billy thought he had this baseball. Watch where it hits. It comes up on him. Had a little top spin on it. There it goes up, and Billy Hall off the glove.
Hanigan has his first hit. And here's the shortstop, Giannis. Gets the bunt down. Villanueva's only play is first. So the Reds execute. Giannis, a sacrifice bunt, putting Hanigan in scoring position with 1 out. So Lance Nix will pinch hit for the Reds. Former Brewer getting a chance to swing the bat for the 2nd time in this series. Nix doubled last night. Hit a rocket into center field.
Not too many guys you're going to see in better shape than Lance Nix. Pretty well put together. Not a real tall guy, but he's big. He's put together well.
He's trying to break through in the Brewers system and down in Nashville the last couple of years. Now 28 years of age. And another Texan, Lance's brother Jason, Had some big league time with the Rockies. Definitely has some pop at his bat. Nix came up with the Rangers back in 03. Actually hit 14 home runs one year with Texas back in 04.
They just had one physical problem after another.
Villanueva looking for out number 2 here in the 9th inning. And that one is down the line. That's trouble if it's fair. It is. It's all the way to the wall. And the Reds will add to their lead as Nix doubles in consecutive games. A pinch hit RBI double for Lance Nix. And the Reds lead 4-1.
That breaking ball that stayed out over the plate and up in the strike zone on a 1-2 count. That's not where Carlos wanted it. Left it out over the plate, and Nix with a nice swing and ripping it down the right field line. So the bottom of the order getting it done in this inning for Cincinnati.
Villanueva's given up 2 hits. And now it's Taveras, who's been on base 3 times. Down the line, that is a fair ball. The throw from Hall in time. That was something special right there.
Well, especially with Willie Taveras running down the line. I mean, that's one of the fastest guys in the big leagues. Boy, what a play. I thought when I saw that play develop and you saw Lance Nix about halfway between second and third, I thought Billy was going to go to second right away, and that ball almost all the way on the line, almost laying down for Billy Hall. Check this out. Wow. Boy, what a play.
Taveras, one of the fastest in all of baseball, and Hall knew that. The strong arm to throw him out from his knees. That was a great play from Billy Hall. Saved a run. Out number 2. Good play from Kendall to block that one. But Villanueva falls behind Jerry Hariston. And you got to wonder the thought process of Ken Maka now as we move past the first week. Right now, Villanueva is the closer for the Brewers. But the way Todd Coffey threw yesterday and has thrown this year, you might see a change in that role. Villanueva continues to struggle a little bit on this homestand.
Well, and he's got experience in that role. Todd Coffey, got Jorge Julio, who's closed games in the major leagues. But again, you hope that you're not going to have to worry too much about that spot much longer. You hope that you get Trevor Hoffman back.
And as Telly reported earlier, Hoffman pitching off the bullpen mound tomorrow and hopefully back by the end of the month. But after tomorrow we'll know a lot more. Jimmy John's delivery of the game came from the man at the plate, Jerry Hariston. 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. And the difference in the ball game. The Reds have just added a run on a double from Nix. 4-1 Cincinnati. 2 outs in the 9th.
Here's a guy he wants right here. It's 3-1 on Jerry Hariston. You don't want to walk this guy and get the Votto.
him. So Villanueva flirting with danger here. He walks Hariston. And the hot hitting Joey Votto, the Reds' 3-hole hitter, steps up with 2 on now and 2 out. Tonight, Votto doubled in a run back in the first inning. He's 1 for 4. He lined out to Counsell his last time up. So he's had a couple of good at-bats. 7 walks in the game for the Brewers. Villanueva his first. And the free passes continue to be a story. Villanueva catches the corner.
Just another run saved by Jason Ken. Remember how much of a deal we made about Billy Hall and his play and how he saved the run? Well, Jason Kendall just done it twice and nobody said a word. That's the life of a catcher.
That's right.
You know.
But we keep those up here.
Yeah.
The catcher saves.
Silently, we're impressed.
He's had 3 of them tonight. I never was a big fan of the catcher's ERA. Mike Scioscia is, though. And when I was in the minor leagues as a broadcaster, Scioscia was a roving catching instructor with the Dodgers, and he used to have us keep the catcher's ERA. He wanted to find out, you know, what the earned runs were with individual catchers.
Right.
That one's belted to right, a base hit. Votto drives in another run. The Reds have a 5-1 lead. And Carlos Villanueva's struggles continue. Walk Hariston to get to Votto, and Votto makes him pay.
Man, he was so good in his first 2 appearances. And all of a sudden, not able to get the ball down on his own. He's struggling with his command with his breaking pitch. He throws a fastball up in the eyes of Joey Votto and rips it into the gap.
So Votto has 2 RBIs tonight. Drove in 1 last night. And the Reds are on top 5-1. Phillips swings to the first pitch. A bad hop that drills Bill Hall. Another run will score. And we're going to check on Hall to see if he's all right. That one came up and looked like it got him in the collarbone. It's going to be a bad hop single for Brandon Phillips and an RBI.
And a second rough hop for Billy Hall in this inning. Inning started out with a ball that went off his glove. Check this one out. Looked pretty good, but it must have hit a cleat mark or something out there, but came up and got Billy right under the chin. There it is.
Man.
Didn't look like it hit him in the face.
He could have lost a couple of teeth right there. So they scored a single and a nightmare inning here for the Brewers. 3 runs in for the Reds. On 4 hits and a walk. Weeks, who took a Volquez fastball in the face yesterday, watching his teammate take one in the collarbone here. Looks like he's all right though. Meanwhile, Phillips gets the benefit of the bad hop with an infield hit and an RBI. And Bill Castro wants to talk with Villanueva. Well, 3 National League games on the slate tonight. The Marlins beat the Braves 5-1, so Florida goes to 6-1 on the season. St. Louis shutting out Arizona in Arizona 3-0. The Reds are out to a 6-2 start. Final game of this series tomorrow. Reds will send up Micah Owings in his first start of the year. The former Diamondback.
And Braden Looper gets his second start on this homestand, second of the year. Pitched pretty well on opening day.
6-1 Cincinnati. Jay Bruce with 2 on. Francisco Cordero was loosening, but with a comfortable lead, Dusty sits him down, and Mike Lincoln appears to be next. Still 2 outs. 3 runs are in for the Reds. And Villanueva falls behind 2-1. That's the 28th pitch for Villanueva in this inning. David Risky in case Villanueva cannot get Bruce. We Looper tomorrow for the Brewers. Day off Thursday, and then it's Bush, Gallardo, and Suppan, the 3 against the New York Mets. Bruce strikes out. The inning is over, but the Reds score 3 runs. A couple of bad hops missed in there. But a lot of work to do tonight for the Brewers with 3 outs to work with.
Reset Reds and Brewers here tonight from Miller Park in the second inning. J.J. Hardy ties the game with his second home run of the year. It is 1-1. 1 inning later, Jerry Hariston, a 2-run shot off Manny Parra, gives the Reds a 3-1 advantage. And Bronson Arroyo doing just enough, pitching into the 7th inning, striking out 3 Brewer players. But in the last half frame, Cincinnati opened up a 3-1 advantage and now lead this one 6-1. Davey and Craig back on board as we get set for Brewers Live, our post-game report. If you go all the way back to what Manny Parra needed to do in this game is keep his team in it, he did his job, Davey.
Well, he certainly did. He kind of struggled with his command a little bit, but he made the pitches when he needed to. Made the one bad pitch to Harrison, but he kept the team in the 6 strong innings. And then the score right now doesn't indicate how well he pitched.
All right, we're going to have full coverage of our Brewers Live postgame coming up as Prince Fielder is set to go against Mike Lincoln. Stay tuned here on Fox Sports Wisconsin, Brian.
Okay, Craig and Davey, thank you. Looking forward to that. Following the game as Fielder rolls to Encarnacion, and that's the first out of this 9th inning. Well, J.J. Hardy, his second home run in as many games. Our Wendy's at the plate. Hardy went deep in the second inning. Right now, that's the lone run standing for the Brewers. Bronson Arroyo went 6 1/3, gave up 4 hits and 1 earned run. And he's 2 outs away from his second win of the year. There's a big effort turned in by Danny Herrera of the Reds, who came on with 2 on and 1 out in the 7th inning and got Ricky Weeks to ground into a double play. And that ended the inning and ended the threat.
And the Brewers have only had 4 at-bats with runners in scoring position all night long. 0 for 4, including that double play.
Mike Lincoln, the former Twin, resurfaced last year with the Reds after surgeries that had him down and out for a couple of seasons. The Reds had Cordero up when it was a 3-1 game, but after that 3-run inning, it's now Lincoln. Hardy hammers one into the gap. And a double for J.J. Hardy.
When you see him do that, you know he's starting to get locked in. I mean, he's been hitting the ball pretty well this entire homestand, but not much to show for it. A Mike Lincoln breaking ball, actually fastball, my mistake, out over the plate, and he rips it into the gap. Good stroke by J.J. on that pitch.
So Hardy with his second hit has a home run and a double tonight. And Mike Cameron to take his hacks against Lincoln. Cameron doubled back in the 4th. Hit one over the head of Willie Taveras. That one's belted to left. Hariston dives for it, and he's got it for the out. On the tough line drive, Hariston makes a nice play for out number 2.
No style points on that, but they don't count. Style points in baseball. He's got to make the play. He froze on it, then realized he better come in and able to grab it before it hits the ground. It's a nice adjustment. That ball is right at him. It had a little bit of a hook on it right at the end.
Well, Hariston's had a good game tonight. Brewers down to their last out. It's Bill Hall. Back on WMLW tomorrow. A 7 o'clock start time. Air time, I should say. 7:05 first pitch. Don't forget, Lowe's level seats are half price tomorrow, so take advantage. Here's Giannis, and that will do it. The Brewers drop their 4th straight. The Reds win it by a final of 6-1. Now stay with us. We got a preview of the Brewers Live postgame show sponsored by Lincoln Mercury. That's coming up right after the turn.